Hello everyone, my name is Lola. If it's your first time here, hello. If it's not your first time, welcome back, and I'm glad you're here again. So this topic will be about something I kind of mentioned in the previous video, but I talked about it, but I didn't really talk about it at the same time. I didn't really delve into it. And yeah, the title will be Why Your Future Self Will Thank You for Waiting, the importance of delayed gratification. And yeah, I just feel like it's something I've been thinking about all week, literally this week and last week. I was just thinking delayed gratification, because that's what I'm like going through. So yeah, I just felt like it was something that I need to talk about. And yeah, we talk more after the introduction. It's me again. So I want to talk about this topic because, especially in this society in the 21st century, I just feel like we're pretty fast paced. We tend to highlight speed. We tend to focus so much on speed. We tend to focus not just speed but like instant success. Like, for example, you know the phrase that says you can't be successful like overnight. You can't achieve success overnight. But then I guess it depends on the context, because some people do, but then maybe they're already successful anyway. But I'm talking about like most of the time you can't achieve success overnight. And I do feel like this is something that we tend to forget in life, because especially in this society, I just feel like, you know, we need to slow down sometimes.
Like you're running out of time, right day and night, like you're running out of time, everything you fight, like you're running out of time, running out of time, like you're running out of time.
It's because I've heard of a lot of people they've achieved success very quickly, they've achieved really fast success, but then at the end of the day they burn themselves out, or they get tired, or even though they achieved it quickly, it didn't have a lot of depth to it. And that's why I feel like delayed gratification is important. And I always use this story, and I feel like this story is really important, and I'm also going to use a Bible verse as well. So this story is about a Chinese bamboo tree. So there was a Chinese bamboo tree. I love using this story, especially when I'm finding it difficult to be patient. There was a Chinese bamboo tree, and for 4 years, 1, 2, 3, 4 for 4 years the tree didn't grow. The farmer planted the tree, the farmer looked after the tree, and for 4 years it didn't grow. And it just seemed like, what's the point of me looking after it? That's what some people would think. What's the point of me looking after this tree if it's not going to grow? But even then, the farmer continued, and eventually, even though like the first 4 years was tough, the first 4 years was tough, it was stagnant, it didn't feel like it was going anywhere, the farmer still kept going and going. And in the 5th year, the tree grew exponentially. It grew, I think, 5 foot in the final year. And the first 4 years, in the first 4 years, it might seem like, oh, this tree's not growing, but deep down, the foundation of the tree, like the roots, what you don't see in the tree, it was like the roots, all the stuff what happens underneath was growing. And it's the same thing with like delayed gratification. If you don't have a strong foundation for what you're doing, then you might wobble, you might collapse. You know what I mean? For example, if I like using my Spanish journey, I feel like I use it more often. So yeah, I've been learning Spanish for, I would say, not 2024, but that's when I started taking it seriously. So I would say 2024, that's when I started taking it seriously. And I'm not trying to learn it quickly. I know sometimes it feels like I want to, because it feels like I'm behind everybody. Like, oh my gosh, everyone I know, most people I know is fluent, they can speak well. And I'm like, why am I still learning? I feel so behind. I have thought that many times. But then I'm like, a lot of people learn the language, or a lot of people do things quickly, but they kind of topple back because they don't have a strong foundation, if you get what I mean. For example, they try to achieve things quickly, try to achieve things rapidly, and they achieve it, but then there's no substance, you get what I mean? Success needs to have substance for it to be long lasting. And yeah, so with Spanish, I've been learning. I feel like I took it more seriously when I got back from Mexico last year, which was in June. Yeah, so like mid-June, that's when I started taking it seriously. It's now September 2025, so I'll say a year and a bit. So back then I was like I'll say A2, because A2/B1. I hadn't learned the tenses. I hadn't learned the like past participles. I hadn't learned like preterite. I hadn't learned that. I hadn't learned like subjunctive. I hadn't learned any of the tenses. But right now, 1 year on, I've learned like I haven't like mastered them, but I recognize all of them. And again, that's delayed gratification compared to if I kind of jumped ahead, compared to if I was like, oh well, I want to be fluent quickly, even though I don't have like depth, even if it doesn't have depth, I want to be fluent quickly. And I'm not saying instant gratification is wrong. I just feel like sometimes we have to slow down. And yeah, sometimes you might look at other people who are ahead of you, but you think they're ahead, but in real life they're not really ahead of you. Everyone's in their own lane. And again, that is something I have to learn as well, because I do feel like sometimes I'm behind. But even though being behind isn't necessarily a bad thing, sometimes being behind, quote unquote, you're actually where you want to be in life. For example, say all your friends have started a business at 20 years old and you started one too, but they seem to be growing very quickly while you are staggering. You're staggering. And it's easy to think, oh, if I'm struggling with something, I'm failing. I have also definitely thought that in my Spanish journey and other things as well. If you're struggling with something, you're failing. But the truth is, struggle is part of the process. Making mistakes, errors. Because if you didn't make mistakes, how will you learn? You know, if you didn't make mistakes, how will you learn? How will you grow? How will you... I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. But if you didn't mess up, if you didn't screw things up, then how will you learn from it? Whereas if everything was perfect, you'll kind of be stuck in your comfort zone, you know. If everything was perfect, if you learned something perfectly, if you didn't make any mistakes along the way, then you'd be kind of... Well, for me personally, I appreciate things more when I've worked harder for them. I just feel like if I didn't work hard for something, it's easy for me to take it for granted. It depends on the person, but if I didn't really work hard for something, it's easy for me to take it for granted and not really consider like the what's it called? It's not for me to not really consider it as something special because I'm used to it. Whereas if I know I worked hard for this, I'm like, okay, well, I see it as more special, you know what I mean? But everyone's different. Some people, even if something is given easily to them, they still treat it well, and that's something that, you know, you should do. Yeah, I just feel like delayed gratification is something that we need to, especially in this society. Delayed gratification is important because it teaches patience, it teaches resilience, and it really helps you with long-term goals. So for example, if someone asks me what are my short-term goals, I would honestly tell them I don't have short-term goals, I have long-term goals. I have a lot of long-term goals. I'm not going to mention them. I'm the type of person that kind of sits and just works silently until something is published. But then it depends as well, because some things I can actually like broadcast, quote unquote, before I fully finished it, because it's one of those things. But yeah, so I feel like to have delayed gratification, because I don't want to just talk about it, I kind of want to give advice on how to do it. To develop great delayed gratification, I think you should deliberately teach yourself to wait for things, even if you know you could like get it straight away. I've maybe like deliberately having to wait for something, or for example, if you know, like deliberately having to wait for something, I would say, I think a good example is like monthly salary. You will have to wait longer, but you also get a better reward because you get more money. And yeah, that's an example of delayed gratification. Another example of delayed gratification I'm doing is I have like a favorite actor, and sometimes it's easy for me to like check what they're doing. Almost, I would say like not every day, but like almost every day. But I'm like, no, I don't want to keep doing this. I'm gonna wait a month so that instead of checking like their post almost every day or once a week or at the end every weekend, I'm gonna wait a month deliberately so that I actually have more content to go over. I actually have more content to look at or more content to enjoy after that month is up, compared to if I like, you know, checked on them or like saw their stories every single day. When the month is over, so October 17th, that's the time I agreed. When it's been a month, I will check their, I don't know, account, whatever, and yeah, I'll be able to enjoy everything. That's an example of delayed gratification.